Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. In this week's exploration of the solar system, we are going to talk about the stereo spacecraft and learn what they've told us about our sun. So let's go ahead and get started here. So we have the stereo spacecraft launched in October of 2006. There were two of these craft, Stereo A and Stereo B, launched into what is known as a heliocentric orbit. So they're orbiting the sun, but they're very close to Earth. And in fact, one is a little ahead and one is a little bit behind Earth. So that's where Stereo A and B came from. The Stereo A craft a little bit ahead of Earth, the Stereo B a little bit behind. And that means that they orbit at different rates by a small amount, and they slowly will change their positioning relative to each other and the sun. So Stereo A gets ahead and it follows the red path as we see on the right-hand side here. So Stereo A, as it's launched, comes around this way and is slowly getting ahead of Earth, while Stereo B is slowly lagging behind Earth. And that means that over time they will get different views of the sun because they are in different positions relative to the Earth. Now, Earth also has observatories and studying the sun, so it can actually study as well. So you've got three things here looking at our sun, allowing us to often see the entire sun. Now, the purpose of this was really to image the entire sun. And that was the whole idea, was to really be able to study the sun and observe it in stereoscopic mode, to be able to see both of all of the moon at once and to be able to see and study it in 3 dimensions. And this would help us with space weather forecasting because the weather on the sun affects us here on Earth. And space weather or solar weather is things like various storms that are going on the sun that can launch solar flares, coronal mass ejections, things that can affect us here on Earth. So some of its findings involved getting 3D views of the sun and a better understanding of solar storms. And in fact, once we reached September 1st of 2012, we were able to finally image the entire sun all at one time. So at that point, the spacecraft were opposite each other as they orbited, and they could observe the sun, and it helped us with certain things in terms of studying. So here we see 2 images from Stereo B on the left-hand side and Stereo A on the right. Now Stereo B imaged this unusual feature, which we couldn't see exactly what it was. You can see the inset here, but what's actually going on there? However, Stereo A, because it is ahead, was able to see this along the limb of the sun, and we could actually see that it was a large solar prominence. So the stereo overall helped us to better understand the sun. Now, the mission of these continues, and Stereo A is still active. However, Stereo B contact was lost in 2014, so it didn't quite make it all the way around, but we still have a Stereo A working as of the recording of this video, as well as a spacecraft closer to Earth that study the sun that continue to help us monitor the space weather and how it affects us here on Earth. So let's go ahead and finish up here with our summary. And what we've looked at is the stereo spacecraft launched to study and image our sun, getting 3D views of our sun for the first time, and gained a better understanding of solar storms and space weather. So that concludes this week's exploration of the solar system video on the stereo spacecraft. We'll be back again next week for another exploration of the solar system video. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.